73 million signings for Real Madrid to get rid of their most expensive star from the club.
Now, you may be wondering what is going on with Kylian Mbappe and Real Madrid. The Madrid fans have launched a petition to get rid of the striker, which has now had more than 30 million signatories to explain the situation.
From a signing Real Madrid once dreamed of.
If Mbappe lands Madrid, Barcelona doesn't have to get ready. The world has to get ready. Man City needs to get ready. Bayern needs to get ready. Because Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe on the same team, there is no defense in the world that can clamp that. I don't care if you got Rodri and Ruben Diaz, you cannot clamp the speed of Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe on the counterattack. No team in the world can. It's impossible.
To a disappointment for the entire Bernabéu.
Yeah, the atmosphere wasn't good, Kay, let's be honest. There were whistles. The biggest whistles of the night, without question for me, were for Mbappé in the second half. Huge whistles for Mbappé. I think the loudest we've heard maybe for any player this season, a reflection, I think, of the frustration of the crowd with him in recent weeks. His
41 goals in 41 matches, the leading scorer for Real Madrid, the deadliest goal machine in all of Europe.
Atención a Mbappé, solo Mbappé, el palo.
Bellingham to Vinicius Jr. He's going to have a run at Tar. Mbappe has had a burst past. Mbappe is in! And Mbappe scores!
But nobody wants to keep him at the club.
Why are Real Madrid fans so unhappy with Kylian Mbappe, especially considering the fact that he has scored 41 goals this season? This is a storm in a teacup. People are making Kylian a scapegoat for what's going wrong at Real Madrid.
Drama after drama. Every camera lens and every media outlet are focused on Mbappe.
Exclusivas vacaciones de Esther Expósito y Mbappé en Italia que traen polémica. La pareja ha pasado el puente de mayo en Cerdeña, disfrutando de lujosos restaurantes y a bordo de un yate, el cual nos ha dejado sus imágenes más románticas.
No ha jugado porque el míster me ha dicho que para él soy el cuarto delantero de la plantilla, detrás de Mastontuono, Vini y Gonzalo. Yo estaba listo para ser titular, pero es su decisión. No puede estar enfadado con un míster. Siempre que hay que respetar la opinión de un míster. Yo de trabajar duro el entreno, de trabajar duro en el partido para esperar a ser titular.
2 consecutive trophyless seasons, and the blame has been heavily placed on the French striker. So is he really Real Madrid's problem, or just a black sheep created by the media?
Why are they all scared of me? I am not a villain.
I know, sir. We will show them.
Before setting foot in the Bernabéu, Mbappe had already scored 329 goals for club and country, winning 17 trophies, and those were the numbers of a player who had not even turned 26 yet.
C'est déjà lui qui a provoqué le deuxième but parisien. Mbappé toujours. Oh, il a effacé Marcelo. Oh, quel but exceptionnel!
He made history as the first player to finish a League One season as both the top scorer and top assist provider, and he did not stop there. He went on to dominate the league's Golden Boot award for 6 consecutive years, an unprecedented streak unlike anything seen before. And remember, that was only the French chapter of his career.
Obliged. Just might. A superstar re-enlivened. A nation Mbappe. Thuram. Mbappe! Oh, wow! 97 seconds between Mbappe's penalty and his ferocious volley. Into the galaxy of greats!
Well, we build it as the Mbappe Messi show.
At the 2022 World Cup, the cathedral where Argentina and Lionel Messi ascended to glory, Mbappe sent shockwaves through football by scoring a hat-trick in the final, a feat unseen since Jeff Hurst in 1966. He ended that campaign with 8 goals and the prestigious Golden Boot, one of the greatest individual performances ever delivered, even in collective defeat. Let that reality sink in.
Super special from Kylian Mbappe. We already know he's already hit the mark. We already know he's one of the best in the world right now. But this feels like even another level for him, Luis, the fact that at this level, once again, he delivered. He did what he could for his team today.
Mbappé, I know he's not happy. He shouldn't be happy because ultimately France didn't win the World Cup. But like I said before, a tremendous individual performance. Take nothing away from his individual brilliance. Surely, of course, France will be back.
When he left PSG in 2024 to join Real Madrid on a free transfer without costing a single euro in transfer fees, Mbappé was already the greatest goalscorer in the history of the Parisian club, surpassing Edinson Cavani, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and every legend who had ever worn that shirt. And beyond that, he became the only player in football history to dominate the Golden Boot race in one of Europe's top 5 leagues for 7 consecutive seasons. 7 straight seasons. No interruptions. No decline in form.
And it has finally happened. It is officially official. Kylian Mbappé has signed with Real Madrid. They've even put out the famous Comunicado Oficial. That's how we know. Here's what he's had to say about it. A dream come true. So happy and proud to join the club of my dreams, Real Madrid. Nobody can understand how excited I am right now. Can't wait to see you, Madridistas. And thanks for your unbelievable support. A la Madrid.
That was the status of the man who arrived at Real Madrid. Not to test himself, not to prove anything. He arrived as one of the 2 or 3 best players on the planet, an undeniable fact. And yet now, in May 2026, he is being booed inside his own cathedral. He has been pushed down to 4th in the club's attacking hierarchy. So what the hell happened? Real Madrid's horrific week began with an internal incident on the training ground. Wednesday, early May 2026, Valdebebas, the headquarters of Real Madrid, Federico Valverde and Aurélien Tchouameni got into a heated argument during training. At first, it sounded normal clashes like that happen in every dressing room around the world. But the next day, when Valverde walked onto the pitch and flat out refused to shake Tchouameni's hand, the ticking time bomb officially detonated. Right in front of the entire squad during training, Valverde repeatedly pointed fingers at Tchouameni, accusing him of leaking details of their argument to the press, a relentless confrontation that spilled from the dressing room onto the pitch itself. Every attempt by teammates to stop it failed. The madness reached its peak when Tchouameni threw a thunderous punch straight at Valverde's head. Valverde collapsed, smashing his head against the table, blood everywhere, and when he left Valdebebas, Madrid's Iron Man had to leave in a wheelchair.
I mean, Real Madrid seem to have turned into the Fight Club. The players at the moment are holding a crisis meeting. Yesterday is that there was a physical confrontation between 2 Real Madrid players on the training pitch, between Fede Valverde and Aurélien Tchouameni. I mean, these are extraordinary events, especially in respect to the fact that they've got this big game against their rivals Barcelona on Sunday night. Now, they're not going to win the title. They're not going to win anything this season. They're playing for pride. Barcelona 11 points clear at the top of La Liga, and they just need a point to clinch the title. But things going from bad to worse at Real Madrid.
Florentino Perez immediately called an emergency crisis meeting. The result of the club's rapid internal investigation, both players received a record €500,000 fine. Shortly afterward, Tchouameni posted on Instagram, "What happened in training this week is unacceptable. I say this thinking about the younger generation who look at us as role models. Frustration cannot justify everything. Incidents like this are completely unworthy of the values of Real Madrid. Look at the bigger picture. 2 teammates beat each other so badly that one ended up hospitalized. €500,000 fines handed to both sides. An official statement released from the highest level of the club. But ridiculously, all of that chaos was merely the background scenery, because Kylian Mbappé, the main character of this entire drama, had not even appeared on screen yet. He was in Sardinia, enjoying a vacation with his girlfriend.
Big picture is a dressing room that is out of control. And let's not forget, by the way, that Álvaro Arbeloa, the coach, was brought in January, midway through the season, to get the dressing room on board, to keep the players happy, to sort of steady the ship. And what we're seeing now, as the season is kind of unraveling for Real Madrid, is just the complete opposite.
Sardinia, a paradise on the Mediterranean coast. While his teammates in Madrid were tearing each other apart, sacrificing their own squad ahead of El Clásico, and helplessly watching Barcelona prepare to lift the La Liga trophy right inside Camp Nou, the club's highest-paid superstar was calmly enjoying the sea breeze beside one of Spain's most famous movie stars. And inevitably, that photo set Spanish social media on fire in less than an hour. Theoretically and contractually, he had done nothing wrong. In fact, manager Álvaro Arbeloa personally stepped in front of the media to confirm exactly that.
Mira, toda la planificación de los lesionados está supervisada y a cargo de los servicios médicos del Real Madrid, que es los que controlan cuándo tienen que ir a Valdebebas, cuándo no, y a partir de ahí, pues cada jugador en su tiempo libre hace lo que él considera oportuno y yo ahí no puedo entrar.
The manager defended him. The contract allowed him to do it. Legally, nobody could touch him. But in the world of football, especially at Real Madrid, where 80,000 souls inside the Santiago Bernabéu treat that royal white shirt as their flesh, blood, and religion, nobody has ever judged things through lifeless clauses written on scraps of paper.
The situation with Kylian Mbappé has gotten a lot worse in the last month. And I'm talking about his relationship with the fans, how he is being perceived by the fans. Kylian Mbappé is a really bright guy. You speak to him, he is eloquent, he is intelligent, he is clearly smart. He's either being advised very, very poorly or taking very, very bad decisions, because the optics on him going on holiday and frolicking with his girlfriend, who happens to be a high-profile Spanish actress, while the team is struggling, are terrible. Anybody should have advised him, you can do this, you're allowed to, but don't. You shouldn't. It looks very, very bad.
Fast forward to Sunday, the decisive El Clásico. Barcelona needed only 1 point to officially crown themselves La Liga champions right inside the Camp Nou. And Real Madrid stepped onto the pitch without Kylian Mbappé. A sudden thigh injury during the final training session ruled him out at the last minute. Minute 8, Marcus Rashford scores. Minute 17, Ferran Torres doubles the lead. The Santiago Bernabéu fell into a silence unlike anything in its history. Not the silence of concentration, but the deathly silence of absolute despair. The Madridistas understood that their season was officially over. And then, in the 36th minute, with the scoreboard showing a humiliating 0-2, with his teammates drowning helplessly, with an entire White Kingdom shattering into pieces, Mbappé posted an Instagram story containing just 2 words, Hala Madrid, alongside a tiny white heart emoji, sent from a luxury sofa in Sardinia.
What the hell is Kylian Mbappé thinking, bro? Real Madrid is down 2-0 at the Camp Nou, and bro posts his Hala Madrid, bro. And look at the score in the top left. It is 2-0. What is this guy Kylian Mbappé thinking, like, genuinely? Why would he even post this? He's not even on the pitch supporting his team, and he wants to post this from home, Hala Madrid? Bro, and they're losing. What the hell, bro? Don't even post at all.
But the storm did not stop there. Mbappé returned to training. He declared himself fully recovered from injury. His name appeared in the squad list for the match against Real Oviedo. But instead of a proud place in the starting lineup, he quietly walked toward the bench. The final whistle blew. He stepped into the mixed zone for the media. And there, in front of dozens of cameras pointed directly at his face, he said something that shook the entire football world.
¿Cuánto estás de dolido ahora mismo? ¿Estás muy dolido? No, está bien, estoy bien. Estoy muy bien, 100%. Yo no he jugado porque el míster me ha dicho que para él soy el cuarto delantero de la plantilla, detrás de Mastantuono, Vini y Gonzalo. Yo al final acepto y juego el tiempo que tengo al jugar. Y yo pienso que juego bien, he dado una asistencia a Jude y hemos jugado bien, hemos ganado. Es importante ganar en casa y siempre ser positivo.
Me gustaría a mí tener 4 delanteros, pero no. Tengo 4 delanteros y le he dicho semejante frase. No me habrá entendido bien o la verdad es que no sé muy bien qué decirte, porque en ningún momento le puedo decir que es el cuarto delantero. No, está claro que si yo no le pongo no puede jugar. Eso está claro, porque soy el entrenador y soy quien decide quién juega y quién no juega. No sé exactamente, he tenido una conversación con él antes del partido y no sé qué ha podido interpretar. Puedo entender perfectamente que Kylian Mbappé hoy no esté contento por no jugar, pero es una decisión basada, como he dicho siempre, por las circunstancias y como he dicho antes, ¿no? Creo que no quería asumir por mi parte ningún tipo de riesgo, jugando también el próximo domingo en 3 días. Creo que era lo más lógico, lo más natural y de sentido común.
Pause for a second. Really think about this. That is absolutely not the language of a player showing humility and respect toward his manager's decision. The way a true professional respects his coach is by saying, "I will continue working as hard as possible to fight for a starting spot." That is it. Short, professional, and nobody needs to know anything more. But no, Mbappe chose to broadcast a brutal message to the entire world. His manager was ranking him behind Mastantuono, an 18-year-old kid. Instantly, the pressure of public opinion shifted directly onto Arbeloa. The media narrative was no longer, "What is wrong with Mbappe?" It became, "Is Arbeloa insane for benching one of the best players in the world for an 18-year-old kid?" The entire media landscape flipped upside down in less than 10 seconds. And then he delivered another knockout blow. "I only watch French TV at home. I do not watch Spanish TV." That was the moment Mbappe looked directly at 80,000 Madridistas, at Marca, at Cadena Ser, and at the entire country of Spain, and declared he was only a passing guest. He did not belong to them. His body was in the Bernabéu, but his mind and soul permanently remained in France. Whether accidental or carefully calculated, that sentence became the spark that set the entire royal kingdom ablaze.
He's given up on them. He's got a World Cup to think about with France and the hamstrings and all of that sort of stuff. So Real Madrid are playing second string at the moment, which are kind of, sometimes you get that as a player because you think there's a World Cup coming up, I want to be fit for it. But I don't think and it goes back to being on holiday when the Bernabéu was crashing and burning, and he was off sunning himself.
And this is another example of just not reading the room. I just don't understand.
But before you rush to any conclusions, I need you to stop and listen to the rest of the story, because there are brutal truths that people are deliberately trying to bury beneath the surface. Look at the numbers that speak for themselves. In his first 100 matches wearing the great white shirt, Kylian Mbappé scored 85 goals and delivered 10 assists, directly contributing to roughly 33% of the club's total goals during that same period. And if you place those numbers beside Cristiano Ronaldo, the absolute gold standard in the history of Real Madrid, Mbappé is not falling behind at all. In fact, he is matching or even surpassing the Portuguese superstar's scoring pace during his early years at the club. Ask yourself this: if he truly is the cancer, the toxic problem poisoning Real Madrid, then who scored those decisive goals? None of them dare answer that question, simply because the truth is uncomfortable, and it completely disrupts the profitable script the media are desperately trying to sell to you. And it does not stop there. There is still another dark secret that the Spanish media absolutely never want you to mention. 3 managers, Carlo Ancelotti, Xabi Alonso, Álvaro Arbeloa, 3 elite tactical minds, all consecutively failing to solve the same impossible equation. Look directly at the core of it. If one manager fails, the blame belongs to him personally. But if all 3 of the world's top strategists collapse, then this is no longer a footballing issue. This is the systemic breakdown of an entire organization. And yet, Florentino Perez is not the one stepping onto the pitch. Ancelotti was not the one being abused by tens of thousands of supporters. Xabi Alonso already walked away with his head lowered in silence. The only man forced to stand at the front line and absorb the fury and the boos in every single match is none other than Mbappe himself. And here is the ultimate question I want to ask all of you. So, is he the root of the problem or merely a tragic victim? Here is my most honest answer. Both, at the exact same time. And that is precisely why this entire drama is so complex and so brutal. Mbappe is not a villain, but he is the type of person who does not know how to stop turning himself into the center of every universe. And at Real Madrid, that is completely impossible. This is the club of 15 Champions League trophies, the cathedral of Ronaldo, of Zinedine Zidane, a place with a history greater than any single individual. Mbappe arrived here to write his own legacy, but Real Madrid never needed somebody to rewrite history. They needed people willing to serve the legacy that already existed. And that trap is the core conflict that 3 managers, 1 powerful president, and a contract worth tens of millions of euros have all been completely unable to solve. There are obvious mistakes that belong entirely to Mbappe: the vacation in Sardinia, the provocative Instagram story, the arrogant comments about French television. Those mistakes are real, and the consequences are visible to everyone. But on the other side, there is an upper structure that is rotting and collapsing from within, desperately searching for a name big enough to carry the blame. And unfortunately, the biggest and brightest name in that dressing room happens to be Kylian Mbappé. He is both the source of the crisis and the sacrificial lamb for the entire machine. And somehow, both of those brutal truths coexist within the same human being. Mbappé is entering the age of 27. Ahead of him stands the 2026 World Cup, the biggest stage of his life. The tournament, he himself once admitted, was the ultimate dream above every other trophy. Once this season ends, he can choose to stay and continue the fight, or walk away in search of a new sky. No matter where fate leads him next, the story of Kylian Mbappé is still nowhere near its ending. But there is one thing I can say with absolute certainty. This is the season that defines the name Mbappé, not through dry statistics on the pitch, but through the true nature of the man behind the glow of the goals. And the answer to who he really is, at this very moment, remains a massive unanswered question. For me, for you, and I believe for himself as well. If you enjoy our video, don't forget to hit like to help this video reach to other football lovers, and hit the subscribe button to follow for more interesting videos about football stories. See you in the next video.